4 o'clock. It's time for Wonder Sparks DIY Puppet Craft. Woo! Okay. So, as some of you may already know, it is Jungle Week. So all of our puppets this week are going to be jungle themed. So today I thought it would be really fun to make this cute little chameleon puppet. So the way it works is we've got some little loops underneath our puppet. Our finger can go right through, and then when we move our finger, we can control the puppet. Okay. So yeah, I always thought that chameleons were very cute, and they have these really cute little hands that they grab onto the little sticks and twigs with. So yeah, I thought it would be fun to make a chameleon. So let's get started. Okay. Let's go over our supplies. First of all, there was a printout that you should have been able to get from our comments. It looks something like this. And as I mentioned a few moments ago, if you want to save yourself a step and print it on colored paper, it will save you the extra step of having to cut and trace an extra time. So up to you. So we've got our printout, we've got some colored paper and construction paper. We'll need some scissors. We'll need a pencil for tracing. We will need our glue stick, some googly eyes if you have them, and some markers. Let's see, I thought I had my black marker somewhere. Oh yeah, I have one here. That's probably all I'm gonna really use here for my markers, but I always like to have them in case you want to do any extra decorating. That's always fun. And lastly, I just added this to our supplies here. It's helpful if you have a ruler or a straight edge, but if not, if you didn't have a chance to grab it, you can always use another sheet of paper and just use the edge of a different sheet of paper. That's fine. Okay, I think we're ready to get started. Okay. So the first thing we're going to do is let's work on our printout. So if you printed this on regular paper, you're going to need to take a few minutes and cut out all of these shapes. Now, we have here a dashed line. And if you've seen some of our other videos, you know that the dashed line means that you're not going to cut there, you're going to fold. So you're going to cut along all of the solid lines, and this one dashed line you're not going to cut, we're going to fold it later. Okay? So, here we go. I'm going to cut out my first shape from my printout. It's this long funny one with a little kind of bulb at the end. That's what I'm cutting out. Do you know what that's going to be on our puppet? It's going to be the tongue of our chameleon. So chameleons are this fun kind of lizard. Their skin changes color. And they have these really long tongues, almost like a frog, where it shoots out and they catch little insects and things, and that's what they eat. It's a fun fact for you. Okay, so I'm going to cut out the tongue of mine. And what we're going to want to do is, I'm going to save a little bit of time. It's probably going to be a little bit boring for you to watch me cut out all of these different shapes and trace them. So I'm going to use this tongue as an example of what we're going to do with all of the shapes on our printout, okay? But I've done my work a little bit in advance, so you don't have to sit here and watch me cut them all out. It's a little bit time consuming, this one. This one might be a little bit harder if you have an adult helper around that you want to ask for a little bit of help. You can do that also. Okay, so this one shape we're going to use as an example of what we're going to do with all of the shapes on our printout. So I've cut it out, and now I'm going to put it on. This is the tongue, I said, so I've got a nice piece of bright pink paper, and I'm going to trace this shape on my bright pink paper. I'm going to take my pencil, and I'm going to trace all the way around the outside. All the way. And you want to hold the pattern that you just cut out, you want to hold it nice and firm. as you're tracing so that it doesn't move around. Okay, so I've got the exact same shape here on my pink paper. And now I can cut that out. Okay, looks like that. That's going to be our long chameleon tongue. Okay, throw that little scrap away. And so we're going to do the same thing with all of our other shapes. And I'm going to tell you a secret. Some of these shapes are exactly the same size and shape. So all of these 4 little legs, if you want to just cut out one of them and trace it 4 different times, you can do that as well. Same with these 2 circles. They are the same size and shape, and same with these 2 lines here. So some of them, if they look exactly the same, you can just cut out one of them and use them as the pattern. But I wanted to go ahead and put all 4 legs and all of the shapes on here in case you wanted to skip that step and print it on a sheet of colored paper. Then you can skip the tracing and you can just cut out all the shapes. Okay? All right. So I went ahead and I skipped the tracing step and I printed out my pattern on a colored paper, and I've cut them all out in advance, except for that tongue that we just did together. So I've got all of my little shapes here, and I'm going to set them aside where I know where they are because, of course, we're going to need them. So let's now work on our chameleon body. So this puppet has some really fun movements in the body. So we're going to work on making that now. This puppet, I'm going to make blue for the body. Earlier I did this bright green, but now I'm going to use blue. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to fold my paper hot dog style this time. I feel like normally I always fold hamburger style, which is the wide way, but here I'm going to do hot dog, so it's a little bit longer and skinnier. So I fold that right in half, lining up the corners and pressing down in the middle. Okay, so I'm going to lay my folded piece of paper down in front of me. I have the crease here. Here's the open side. And I'm going to take my ruler or straight edge, or if you have another sheet of paper, you can just use that to draw a straight line. But basically, I'm going to go from, I want to make sure you can see this, from the corner of the open side all the way up, almost to that folded, to the very end of the folded edge. Maybe not quite. Maybe I'm going to stop a little bit short. So I'm going to draw, I'll use my marker, and I'm going to draw that line right now for you to see. Okay. So we're basically making kind of like a big triangle. I went from, here's the open side. So I went from the open side all the way up to that folded edge. And now we can just cut right along that line. Okay. I'm going to set this extra paper aside. We might need it, but we're going to hang on to that folded piece, this big triangle right here. Okay. Next, so I'm going to lay the triangle flat in front of me, right? I've got the folded edge going up and down right in front of me, and I'm going to take the edges of this triangle and I'm going to bring them right into that middle fold. Right there, and I'm going to crease it, and I'm going to do the same thing with the other edge. I'm going to bring that straight edge on the outside right to that center fold that I made. Gets a little bit tricky up here where the point of the triangle gets narrow, but it doesn't have to be exactly perfect. Okay. So almost kind of paper airplane, I suppose. Sort of the same idea. So we've got this triangle. It has one big fold in the middle, and then we've made two folds from the outside edge to the middle, and then from the outside edge to the middle on the other side. Okay. This one's a little detailed, so it might take a little bit of extra patience or a nice adult helper. So now we've got our folds. I'm going to take my triangle, fold it in that center fold one more time, but I want to make sure I notice where those other two folds are that I've made. Okay? So I've got it folded right down the middle, and now I'm going to take my scissors and I am going to cut some little strips, but only to that center, to that other fold that we've made. I don't want to go past it. So, starting on the folded side, I'm going to take my scissors and start cutting some little strips just to where that fold is. Okay. So I'm going to take my scissors here, right to that fold. Same thing, all the way down. See, so I'm cutting, if I open my triangle, I'm cutting where the center is, and I'm going all the way out to that other fold. Might get a little bit easier as it gets a little bit narrower. So, all the way. And if we can help it, we don't want to go past that folded line. Okay, I think that's good enough. All right, so now we've got this kind of weird triangle with these little strips cut out of the middle. Very odd. But it's going to make a cute little chameleon. So, I'm going to lay my triangle down in front of me again. I've got the little folded strips, or the little cut strips in the middle. And I've got those two edges folded to the center, like I did earlier. Now I'm going to show you. What's going to happen is the two folded edges that we didn't cut, we're going to glue them on top of each other like this. So that when we turn it over, it's going to be like 3D. Okay? So those two folds that we made, I'm going to put glue all along one side. And we're going to glue those two folds together. Okay. So here I go. I'm putting the glue all along that fold. And now, I'm going to bring the other fold right on top of it. And I'm going to try as best as I can to hold those two together. It's a little bit hard because we have this part sticking up. So here's a trick. You can take your pencil and kind of press it in and push down those two folds together so that the glue can stick a little bit better. Yeah. Okay. You can also take your fingers, push down. Okay, I think that should do it. So this is the body of our chameleon. It has this really fun little movement. And at the front here, we might have a little bit of extra paper sticking out. But that's okay, we actually want that because we're gonna need to put some glue there to make our head stick. Okay, cool, good job. All right. So now we've got all our pieces from our printout that have been cut out, traced and cut out. So let's look at what all those little pieces are. Okay. So this little kind of football shaped one, this is going to be the head of our puppet. So remember, the dashed line is going to be a fold. So I'm going to fold on that dashed line, just like that. So this is going to be the head and the big mouth of our chameleon. So now I can take this extra paper that I said was going to be sticking out of the front, and we can put some glue right there. Whoop. Got some traffic outside. We've got some horns honking. Sorry if you can hear that. But I like to work right next to my window, so. Okay. So now I'm pressing down that folded head shape that I have, and I'm pressing it right onto those little tabs where I put that glue. And we have a nice little mouth that kind of hangs open, like that. Alrighty. And now we've got our 4 pieces that are basically the exact same size and shape. These are our little legs and feet. So, I'm going to put this in front of me so you can see. And I'm basically just going to put 2 on each side. I'm going to put them so that the black outline isn't showing. There we go. Can you see? So we've got 2 on each side, right? And you can, so I've got 2 of mine kind of facing forward and 2 of them in the back facing towards the back, but you can flip them however you want. Maybe your little chameleon is walking along and their legs are kind of going different ways. So this pattern, you can really glue these legs on however you want. It can really be really cute. So yeah, I think I'm going to keep that arm like that, and I'm going to have this one going backwards and this one going forwards. Yeah, why not? So we're going to take our little legs and we'll just put a little bit of glue right here where it's going to attach to the body on the top. I'm just brushing this little end onto the glue stick, so there's a little bit of glue, and there we go. Pushing it right underneath my puppet so that those little ridges that we made are on the top. And I'm going to do that with all of my legs. There we go. I think it looks a little better if they're not exactly even on each side, because again, it makes it look like your little chameleon is kind of moving and walking along. Oh, put the glue on the wrong side. You want it to be on the top, right? So it's going to be on the top of the leg, and that's going to stick to the bottom of the puppet. Like that. So we've got our head, we've got our 4 little legs. Okay. And now I had, where are my eyes? There they are. All right. So I have these 2 little eyes. If you want, you can make them a different color. So I printed out my whole page on a colored sheet. So mine are orange, just like the head. But on my sample, I made them a different color than the head, if you can see. So I'll just glue those on. So chameleons have these really big eyes, right? And they kind of stick out from their head. So that's why I made these extra circles. And that allows them to see on both sides of their body. It's really crazy. It's very cool. So now I've got my little eyes glued on. And then we're going to put the googly eyes in the middle of those. And if you don't have googly eyes, you can just take your pattern. So if I wanted to, actually, I'll show you that now. I won't use the googly eyes. I'm going to cut out the circles from the pattern on the white paper. All the way around. I'm going to make them a little bit smaller. Okay, so I'm cutting out my little circles for my eyes. I'm making them a little bit smaller. Okay. And I'm going to put them right in the middle. First, I'm going to take my black marker and draw the little black pupils. Okay. So again, brushing that circle shape onto my glue stick and putting them right in the middle of those circles. Okay. Nice. Look at those cute big eyes. Okay, so we are almost done. Now, chameleons also, like I said, they have those really long tongues, which we cut out in the beginning. So I've got a really nice long pink tongue here that I need to put inside my chameleon's mouth. So I'm going to take my glue stick and just put a little bit of glue here on the end. Again, just brushing that paper right across the top of my glue. I'm going to open the little mouth here. Just glue it right in the middle so it sticks out. Okay. And so they have these really long tongues, but they curl up and the tongue fits all the way inside of their mouth. So the way we're going to do that is we're going to take our pencil and I'm going to take it to the end of my puppet's tongue and just roll it up like this. Just roll it tightly around my pencil. And I'm going to hold it there for maybe, let's say, 3 seconds. 1, 2, 3. Okay? I can let go, unroll my pencil, and now my chameleon has this really fun curly tongue. All right, so as we so often do, we have our animal, our chameleon, but it's not quite a puppet yet. So we've used all of the other shapes. The thing that we have left is these long, skinny rectangles, right? And what that's going to be is the control of our puppet. So as you could see in my sample, we have these little circles that my finger can go through. And just by wiggling my finger, that's how I can control my little puppet. So you can take one of these little rectangles and wrap it around your finger. You want it to fit around your finger, not too loose, but definitely not too tight. Okay. I'm going to say that's about the size for mine. Once again, using my glue stick, brushing the paper across the top, and holding that together. So I've got one loop. I'm going to do the same thing here, but I'm going to measure around the end of my finger. It's going to be a little smaller. And same thing, we're going to glue that. So lots of tracing, cutting, gluing things, but I think you can do it. Okay, so I'm going to take the bigger one on the belly of my chameleon. I'm going to put it probably right about there, and then the other one a little bit closer to the head. So something like that. So I've got the two loops underneath the belly of my puppet, brushing the glue across the paper. Holding it in place for a few seconds. We'll say 1, 2, 3. Okay. And now our smaller circle, same thing. Brushing a little bit of glue. And gluing it just in front of that other loop. Oh. 1, 2, 3. And as I was holding mine, it almost went a little crooked like that. That's not ideal. We want the two loops to kind of be in line with each other so that my finger can fit through both of them at the same time. Okay. I think that will do it. Put the cap on my glue. Let's try out our puppet. I'm going to take either my index finger or my middle finger, whichever is easier for you. I'm using my index finger. And here, if I just move my finger around, oh, one of my loops came off. Let's press it down. Okay. So you might want to wiggle your puppet around a little bit. And what I did earlier is I actually folded at the top as well to give the head a little bit of extra movement. Now we can put our finger through. There we go. And just by wiggling my finger, my puppet can move around. Ta-da! And you can have it crawl on things. Oh, so there's a couple of different movements that you can do. When the puppet is on your finger, you can move your wrist back and forth like this and have it kind of crawl. And then you can wiggle your finger up and down and it'll kind of nod and be very expressive like that. So 2 different movements. You can move your wrist back and forth, have your puppet crawl. Oh no. I clearly need to have a little more patience and let my glue dry before I play with it. Tape might also be a good option for these little loops if you're finding that they're coming off. Okay. Okay. So, 2 different movements. We had the back and forth, or just the wiggling the finger and moving it up and down like that. All right, the little guy, he's gonna need a little puppet surgery. Let's do some tape. I have it right here. We don't want any puppets that we can't use. So let's just put a little piece of tape inside the loop and tape it to the belly. That way we make sure that we have a puppet that we can play with. Okay, there we go. That should be a little more secure. Yep, looks good. Okay, there we go. So there's our fun little chameleon puppet. And the other great thing about chameleons is that their skin changes color, like I said. So if you have your markers and you want to do some coloring or decorating, chameleons can look like any different color or any different pattern of things. So you can really have some fun with that. Okay, thank you for joining us. We are Wonderspark Puppets, and we're here with these DIY crafts every weekday at 4 o'clock and Saturdays and Sundays at 10 a.m. You can always check out our website at wondersparkpuppets.com. You can find merch. You can find membership programs. You can also enter to win a raffle to win your very own private live streamed full puppet show. And every Friday we do a live streamed puppet show for free for everyone. So definitely check that out. Those shows are up for the full week until we do the next one. This week is Jungle Week, so we have a special Aesop's Fables double feature this Friday at 11 a.m. So make sure you tune in for that. Oh, of course, you can always send a puppet telegram or a live puppet chat. That's also available on our website as well. So thank you everyone for joining us. I hope you're enjoying Jungle Week, and we'll see you next time. Bye.